Sports Radio The Ticket.
A Cumulus media station.
Get in.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
All right, hour number 2. What's going on a Friday? Kind of a collision of seasons tonight and this weekend for sports fans. We'll be talking about that in an hour. We'll take your phone calls on Fast Phones Friday. We want you to bring it this week on Fast Phones Friday, but college football kind of coming up right now on this hour on the program, Mike Prater.
Let's do it. Big weekend of college football. Lots of stuff at stake at 4:15. Right after this segment, we're going to dive into the college football preview weekend. We're going to pick our CFP 8 going into the weekend, and we're going to look at the G5 race, the Cotton Bowl race, and see where Boise State fits into that as well.
All right, let's do our BNN report with Bronco Nation News. BJ Rains, our partnership with them. And BJ, we welcome you. This is our video segment of the program. And got another home game, BJ. Big Bronco weekend. What's going on?
I'm doing good, guys. Always appreciate you having me on. And, yeah, it's nice to not have a road trip here for a couple weeks. Seems like it's been a lot of travel in the first couple of months of the season. So happy to have a Friday night in Boise and happy to be on with you guys.
You watching BYU, ECU tonight, or are you going to check in on the World Series?
I'll probably go back and forth. I mean, it's this thing is kind of worn off of the Cardinals being out now, so I can get back to actually enjoying baseball. So definitely pulling for the Phillies, and there's not a single Astros person on there. I guess Dusty Baker, maybe he deserves to win one, but I just don't like the cheating and the Astros in general and Verlander. So I'll pull for the Phillies, but yeah, I think a BYU game. Certainly look ahead for next week. I'll be watching that as well.
All right, BJ. Well, excellent reporting. You broke the George Tarlas injury story a couple of days ago. He is likely out for the season. He doesn't have any eligibility left, so he is likely done playing collegiate football. BJ, what's the magnitude of this injury, George Tarlas hip surgery?
Well, you just feel terrible for him too. I mean, you guys, we've really enjoyed talking to him. I mean, this had the makings for like a Disney movie. I mean, just what he had done, his career coming over and going to school here, and then going away and getting a chance to come back, and just all the meditation, all the things he talked about off the field, and what he was doing to get himself ready to have this great story and have a huge year at Boise State, and then go on to the NFL. And he was working his way towards that. When you look at some of the stats he was putting together, and 4th on the team, 31 tackles, leading the team with 6 tackles for loss. I think was 2nd on the team with 4 sacks. Had 6 quarterback hurries, which was a team high, forced to fumble. I mean, he was really coming on these last couple of games, had 7 tackles against Air Force. And it was just to get the news is you just feel terrible for him as a person and for his family, and just the fact that you're right, Johnny, that this is it. There's no COVID year. He's played in the 6 games. I mean, this was his COVID year. So his career at Boise State is all but officially over, and disappointing to hear for him. But I mean, it certainly leaves a big hole on the field for Boise State as well. And I guess for George, you just hope he can get healthy and have a chance at the NFL, because I know that meant a lot to him, and he really wanted to get back out there. So my understanding is he had the surgery yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, Wednesday, had the surgery, and is going to hopefully be able to get back in time to be ready for training for the draft.
Now, you said likely out for the year. I mean, this would be like if they get a late bowl game. When is the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl? December 18th, 19th, something 17th, like that?
I think, yeah.
I mean, that's less than 2 months away. I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit that. Scratch that question. I want to know what this leaves the edge position and how thin maybe it is now with no more George Tarlas. Where do you go at edge?
Well, the only other guy on the depth chart on his side of the field at his position hasn't played a snap all season in Cortez Hogan. So, I mean, it leaves him pretty thin. Cortez Hogan's has been out for a mystery injury himself the entire season. He finally dressed in the last game, but didn't see the field that I'm aware of. So maybe he's ready in some capacity to play. Now, we remember during fall camp, they tried to play this up as a big competition between the two of them. So we were led to believe that Cortez Hogan's was doing some things and was, pushing for some playing time. And then that first game just got hurt. So I guess maybe we'll see Cortez Hogan's tomorrow. I don't know if we will. Like I said, he dressed last game but didn't play. So I'd say Cortez Hogan's will get some time there, and then they're going to have to move somebody over from the other side. I mean, I think Hassanin has a chance. He's a young guy, has a cool story himself, but he hasn't really played a whole lot either. He's made a couple plays, but do they move over an Isaiah Banya? Is Devin Wright, the JUCO transfer, going to come over and see some snaps on the other side? I mean, they got a lot of ways they can go, but regardless of who it is, it's going to be somebody that hasn't played very much and doesn't have a ton of experience.
What about Isaiah Banya? It seems like I know they're kind of experimenting that, and he hasn't been as productive or on the field as much as he has in the past. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but Isaiah Banya, why not him more?
Oh, man, what do I wish I could say right now? There is a lot going on that I've been told behind the scenes with Isaiah Banya. Let's just say that. Let's just see if Isaiah Banya is dressed tomorrow. Let's say that. let's see if Isaiah Banya is out there tomorrow. He hasn't played a whole lot the last few games. He hasn't played a lot the last few games, and I guess there may be more to the story there, and who knows if he had plans of something that may have changed once he found out George Tarlas got injured. So it's one of those things where you're 98% sure on something, and you can kind of read between the lines here. But let's just see tomorrow what's going on with him. I mean, he's certainly a guy, as he said, that they moved him to linebacker to fight for the starting spot, and he was one of the hot names everybody was talking about going into the season. And yeah, his playing time has severely decreased. He hasn't played a whole lot at all. I think he only has 10 tackles on the season. He doesn't have 1 tackle for loss. He's played in 6 of the 7 games, according to the stats. But he is kind of a mystery guy right now. You think he'd be the easy one that they could find a way to get on the field. But I'm not sure of his status. We'll maybe find out more tomorrow.
George Tarlas, what about him? You mentioned going to camp, being healthy, January, February, March, going through the NFL draft process. He's not going to get drafted. We think he might have a shot. Definitely thought he had a shot before he got hurt. Is it possible that, we love George, and we want to see George play football for a long time, but I have a sneaking suspicion that he's never going to play football again. How do you like his NFL chances?
Well, injury aside, it's a pretty, you're talking about, the pulling the hip. I don't know all the technical terms, but his hip basically came out of its socket, I was told, and it was a pretty surgery to fix that. So who knows how a guy is going to recover from injury and just get back to where he was. But yeah, no doubt about it. If he could have finished the season and had more tape and finished on a high note, he would have had a better chance probably. We saw what happened to Jake Stetz last year. Jake Stetz was a guy that had a chance to really be an NFL player, got hurt midway through the season, and then didn't even get a sniff when he came back for pro day. So hope that's not the case with George. 6'3", 255. You look at him, he's a put together dude, and very well spoken. He'll probably kill it in the film room sessions and all the meetings with the teams. But, I hate to say it, but he went to Weber State for 4 years for a reason. And so obviously was having a good year here at Boise State, but I have not talked to enough scouts or people about him to know what his NFL chances are yet, but certainly the injury is going to put him back.
BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News Report Fridays on Idaho Sports Talk. BJ, do you think that UTEP loss is just ultimately gonna kind of come back and bite this team in the back this season? Is that going to be one that, I know it led to a lot of good things. I don't think Tim Plow gets fired if they look good and beat UTEP, that type of stuff. But is that going to kind of be the boogeyman at the end of the year? Are you kind of sensing that?
Well, obviously, you're probably referring to like the New Year's Six and the Cotton Bowl and what their chances are there, because it won't matter for the LA Bowl. It was a non-conference game. And so when you look at big picture bowl games and things like that, I unfortunately think so. I just find it hard to believe. That was one of the worst losses in program history. I get that they've turned it around. Now, again, if every other, if UCF beats Cincinnati tomorrow, and if all the other group of 5 teams that they're going against have 3 losses and they only have 2, then sure, I could see them having a situation to be in. But they're not going to get in over a 1-loss team from another group of 5 conference. And if it's 2-2, you'd have to look at the quality of losses and things like that. I just don't know if there's enough quality wins in this conference to give them the benefit, and then B, that's going to be one of the worst losses in the country for a team competing for a spot like that. I think it was a really, really bad loss. And you're right, it led to a lot of good things that may have saved their season in terms of the Mountain West Championship and all that. But in terms of competing with the resumes of some of these other teams for a New Year's Six bowl game, right now at least, I don't see how a loss to UTEP is enough to get them in.
All right, BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News Report. We do this every Friday right here on Idaho Sports Talk. Let's dive into some hodgepodge questions here. I don't like Colorado State. I think Boise State wins big tomorrow. I'm even pushing for a shutout. Boise State, when they shut somebody out, they average about 44 points a game. So, yes, I'm predicting a big blowout. Does that mean we might see Sam Vidlak tomorrow? And why haven't we seen Sam Vidlak before?
That's a good question. We were told over and over again that he was going to be a part of the game plan, and he is a part of the game plan, and they had a situation to get him in the game, and it hasn't happened yet. And he was warming up to come in. We're still not exactly sure why. I guess if they had fallen behind, maybe they thought he could throw the ball better at the end of that other game. But if there was a game to do it, yeah, I think this is going to be it. I mean, I don't see how this game is close. You look at the history of Colorado State, not only are they 11-0 against them, but they're scoring 43.5 points a game against them in those 11 games, and they're winning by 20-plus points a game. Everybody knows that we've been talking all week about how bad the Colorado State's offense is and Boise State's defense. So I see this being a pretty lopsided game, and maybe this is a game where you try to get Sam Vidlak some run and have him ready in case something happens and there's an injury or something to Green down the line. Because I think this would be a game where it's not going to be close. It shouldn't be close. Can't tell you why he hasn't played yet to this point. I think part of it is, hey, Taylon Green's a young player that we like, and we want to give him as much opportunities as we can. Why hurt his development by taking him off the field for a series here and there right now? But I think tomorrow it's a good point, Prater. And if you're a Boise State fan, I think you want to see Sam Vidlak in that game because that means you're up by a lot of points.
BJ, what are your expectations for this offense if we're watching this game tomorrow from the Stickle and it's Noah and Crow at running back, and there is no Holani and there is no Genty, and they just have to make do with what they have? How different does that change your perception of this matchup?
Well, I think George Holani is going to play, so I would say that part of that is you probably don't have to worry as much. Not sure on Genty, but I would expect at this point that Holani will play. I was told he literally was a game time decision last week. We saw him practicing this week, so I think you'll get Holani back, which is a big deal. But I think that again, you had 17 carries from Noah, and that's great, but he only had 54 yards or whatever it is. You'd like to see a little more production, but I think you feel okay. Again, you're playing a Colorado State team that's not good. I mean, their defense is not good either. The Rams are 93rd in scoring defense. They're giving up almost 30 points a game. They're 72nd in total offense, giving up like 380 yards per game. So they're not good on either side of the ball. So I think you can win a game if you have to with Noah and Crow and Dudley at running back. Maybe Taylon Green just has to run the ball more than he has in the past, but I think your scenario is not going to matter as much because I do think George Holani is going to be out there.
All right, BJ Rains, I got a kind of an oddball question for you. Watch the Utah-Washington State game last night, and as we all kind of figured out, Utah not only duped Washington State, they duped the national television broadcasters.
Yeah.
They brought out a quarterback that wasn't supposed to be the quarterback. Yeah, the announcers were even talking about Cam Rising 2 plays into the game when they still hadn't figured out that it wasn't Cam Rising. So it was a complete, total dupe job. Here's my question. In college football, should there be an injury report?
Well, I don't know if you read the article or not. Was it John Canzano? I think they wrote an article today. It was very fascinating.
Yeah, go read that column. I read that. It's a beautiful column. It sums up last night perfectly, and it brings up a bigger picture in college football.
Yeah, and he was talking to one of the announcers, Petros Papadakis, and talking about how, literally they had the graphics on the screen for the other quarterback, and it made them look like an idiot when they came out there and had the wrong guy out there. And, that is a very interesting debate, and especially now that gambling's getting involved in things like that.
Yes.
You probably do need to have that because let's be honest. There are things that we see at practice that we can't report. There are things out there that some people know, some boosters know, and then you find out on game day. And sometimes you do see weird line movements because Vegas usually knows. But I think you probably have to at some point here. But again, how honest are college teams going to be? They'll just put guys as questionable, and then you'll find out on Saturday. So I don't know what – I mean, you probably need something fair like that, but whether or not how coaches and different coaches treat it would be, something that I don't know how honest they would treat it. But that was a weird situation. And usually the TV broadcast knows, like they knew about George Holani last week. They told those guys going into the game he might not play, probably wasn't going to play, and then they were at least ready for it. None of us had any idea what was going on, and fans and everybody were wondering where's George Holani. So that's a weird thing. And what you tell a broadcaster and the code there of not wanting to tell the other team and keeping it secret. And now that you have gambling and millions of dollars and all this stuff in stake, it's a very interesting debate. And that was a very interesting article where FS1 basically got hung out to dry by the Utes.
BJ, all right. See you tomorrow with the game. Enjoy your coverage. Quickly, What is your BNN coverage from now until this game tomorrow,
We're
man?
giving away an awesome cornhole set. We're giving away a cornhole set tomorrow. If you come by the James and see us before the game, you just have to be a subscriber on our YouTube channel, Bronco Nation News, and we'll put your name in a little bucket, and we'll give away a really nice, expensive cornhole set tomorrow at the James on our pregame show, Bronco Nation News.
All right, great stuff, BJ. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Prater and myself, before the game, we will be at the KTIK tailgate tent. That's at the DeChevreau, the practice field. Prater will be there from 3 to 4 p.m. with a chance to get what?
BYU football tickets and maybe a Johnny and Prater's sticker. But the stickers we'll give you for free. We'll give you about 100 of them so we can make JP go out and get more. But yes, come by and register for a pair of BYU tickets. Somebody's going to put their name in a box, and somebody's going to get 2 tickets to BYU next week.
All right, let's do that. Coming up, let's continue with this college football topic. C of I, the Big Sky, our own top 8 we're going to reveal. Big games going across the country. Tomorrow we're going to be all over it on KTIK